in case one of them don't work, okay?
You're fine. Do what you gotta do, Ronnie.
Okay, it's November 23rd, 2020, approximately 4:11 p.m. I'm Detective Rodney Black, an Officer of Professional Standards. Also here today is Sergeant Travis Griffith, an Officer of Professional Standards, and Officer Raymond Francis. And what shift are you on?
Delta Company, 3 p.m., 3 a.m.
Okay. Officer Francis is here today to talk to us about A number 2020 12242, which is a citizen's complaint made by Jack Miller in regards to an incident that happened on October the 4th at Walmart on South Bryant.
Yes, sir.
You familiar with that incident?
Yes, sir. I am.
Okay. You got a copy of the complaint, didn't you?
Yes, sir. I did by email from you, scanned in.
You read it?
Yes, sir.
It's been over 48 hours.
Yes, sir.
Okay. I guess, I'll tell you what, I'm going to go ahead and read you a Garrity warning. You know what that is?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So I'm now going to question you about complaint number 2020-12242. This questioning concerns administrative matters, okay? Administrative, you understand that, right?
Yes, sir.
Relating to the official business of the San Angelo Police Department. I am not questioning you for the purpose of instituting a criminal prosecution against you in reference to this internal investigation. During the course of this questioning, even if you do not disclose information which indicates you may be guilty of criminal conduct, neither the self-incriminating statements nor the fruits of any self-incriminating statements you make will be used in criminal legal proceedings. Since this is an administrative matter and any self-incriminating information you may disclose will not be used against you in a court of law, you are required to answer our questions fully and truthfully. Okay, you understand all that?
Yes, sir.
If you refuse to answer our questions, this in itself is a violation of the rules of the San Angelo Police Department, and you will be subject to disciplinary action. This Garrity warning is limited in scope and only covers details concerning the current investigation. Incriminating statements indicating possible criminal acts unrelated to this investigation and divulged by you during this investigation may be used during unrelated criminal proceedings. Does that make sense?
Yes, sir.
You understand all that?
Yes, sir.
All right. Do you understand everything I've explained to you?
Yes, sir.
Do you have any questions about what I've explained to you?
No, sir.
No. Okay. Randy, just fill this out up there.
I always forget the date.
Well, you want to just tell us what happened that day, Raymond?
Yes, sir.
Start from when you got the call and information you remember, and all the way up to releasing.
Got dispatched to an intoxicated subject call at Walmart South, 3440 South Bryant Walmart. Descriptions given to the guy was, I think, going around asking people questions or harassing people in the parking lot. I think it's maybe one of the details from the whole thing. Said he had a child with him, like a toddler or something. Parking lot was checked. When I got there on scene, Officer Weber was already in the parking lot. He was waiting with the vehicle. We found it parked. Officer Mayberry, I believe, was inside the store already trying to find the subject. I showed up, asked Weber, what all we had so far. And he said, well, I found the vehicle. He said, Mayberry's inside. It's okay. So Mayberry come out and he's like, I didn't find anybody. He's like, what are we gonna do? double check again just to make sure. The fact of someone, possible intoxicated subject with a child, neither one of us, I don't think any of us is really comfortable. I wasn't comfortable. Just okay, 10-8, we're out of here. We didn't find anybody. So I told Mayberry, hey, let's go check the store one more time, 2 sets of eyes, in case maybe one of us missed something. So we go back in the store.
Let me stop just a second.
Yes, sir.
So at the point y'all are looking for him, you've been made aware that he's intoxicated. You're looking for an intoxicated person
That's what
with a child that was harassing people.
Yes, sir.
That's the information you had.
Yes, sir.
Is that correct? Okay. Go ahead.
So me and Mayberry walked back in the store. He went to like general merchandise side, so like would be clothing, the shampoo, toiletries, that area to the left of the store. I started walking up towards the grocery side, so like where the fruits, frozen section, soups, chips, all your general grocery stuff, foods. I started just looking down the aisles, and a guy comes out in front of me, pushing a stroller with a kid. I'm thinking that's probably him, so I just let him walk by. I get on the radio, tell Mayberry, hey, I think I may have got the guy. He's coming towards you. It's okay, so Miller winds up going down, makes the right, going towards like the self-checkout area right there. Mayberry comes up to him. I come up behind, starts making conversation with him, and let him know why he's being contacted. Investigating possible intoxicated subject call, just trying to get information from him, explain to him why he was being contacted, that kind of stuff. Officer Weber was still outside at that point. Talking to him.
It's just you and Mayberry?
It's just me and Mayberry inside at this time. We're talking with him, just asking him, just want to get some general information. Mayberry's telling me, asked him, I think at some point asked him if he had been drinking anything or intoxicated or something. And the guy was like, no, do I look like it? I don't remember what Mayberry's answer was to him at that point. I was just trying to watch him, keep an eye on the kiddo, make sure, kid's not going to do anything. Obviously, I don't want to fall out of the basket. Talking to him, just asking for his name and stuff. He's like, what do you want my name? What's going on? Just like, know who I'm talking with. Mayberry explains to him again why we're talking with him. I tell him again. At first, he tells me his name is, I thought he said Zach, but he told me later, he told me Jack. So I got confused at some point why the name, any which way. Talking with him, just trying to tell him, hey, just give me your information. We'll be out of here. Just trying to explain to him, we'll be done here in a minute. Just let us know what's going on. Let him know what's going on. Just give us your information. He starts reciting the statute and all that.
Let me ask you something.
Sir.
At this point, was he being detained or was it a consensual contact?
I never told him he was detained. Officer Mayberry never told me he was detained. So it probably could be looked at as a consensual contact at that point.
So you're treating this as a consensual contact at this point?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
But
was there anything to lead you to believe that he was intoxicated?
I had a mask on, so I couldn't smell anything. But looking at his eyes and listening to him, I wasn't getting kind of telltale signs that we look for, slurred speech, bloodshot eyes, anything like that. I wasn't seeing anything like that or hearing it.
But in your mind, y'all are consensually contacting or detaining him?
I'm looking back at now, I'm probably looking at it as a consensual. It was probably more, we were probably handling more as a detainment at that time. It should have been just handled as consensual and we should have been done with it. Officer Weber asked us, where we're at, tell Weber, hey, we got him. We're over here by the self-checkout. Officer Weber comes in. The three of us are talking with him at this point. I can't remember exact details how everything goes from this point. I know Weber asked me, is he under arrest for failed ID? Because we remember telling him, it's like, hey, you could be arrested for failed ID. That's where we're going with thinking now we're treating as a detainment. But looking back at it now, we should have just done it as a consensual and just been done.
But at that point in time, were y'all detaining him?
It was being detainment.
So he was being detained.
Yes, sir.
And refusing to identify himself?
Yes, sir.
Okay. At that time, what was your understanding of the detained and refusing to ID yourself
I was looking at the charge of failed ID.
based
That was-
on,
Him not giving us the information who he was.
because what, like I said, what was your understanding? You felt like somebody being detained had to give you their name,
Yes, sir.
and you've
Yeah.
since,
I've re-educated myself, talked to Sergeant Guido, the next day, me and him sat there for, I don't know, 15, 20, 30 minutes. I can't give you an exact time frame, but he sat there and me and him looked at it and we talked about it, explained it to me. I've looked at it since then also just to keep myself refreshed and stuff like that.
so a person being detained, what's the law say? What's the penal code say about giving their name?
If it's a lawful detainment, then yes, they have to identify themselves to us.
If it's a lawful detention,
Yes, sir.
okay,
What's your understanding, just so I'm clear, just what is your understanding if you have somebody detained and they don't want to give you the name?
If they don't want to give his name at that point, that's when I would go to effect arrest. But
And you spent time reviewing that law since then?
I haven't looked at it recently. I looked at it probably first few days and weeks after it.
Well, that would be not correct. You could not force someone to give a name unless they're arrested.
Okay.
That's the kind of the heart of this is that if they're detained and they give a false name, then you can arrest them for failure to identify. If they are lawfully detained and they provide false information, but if they just don't tell you the name, then they have to be arrested for another offense.
Okay. Then I need to reread again and correct myself.
so if you went back to the same call when you left here, went back to Walmart, same exact call, and the guy won't get, he's being detained, and
Been done with it.
Huh?
I'd have been done with it. Just let him go. He's not. I'm not.
I just
seeing
want to
any-
make sure,
No,
Brandon, that you understand the law, so, we don't have to do this again.
Yes, sir. No, I understand. That's my mistake. Like I said, it's been a while since I've read it again, so we'll re-educate myself and reread it. And
So
make sure
let me
I
ask you
fully
this
understand.
way, under this, pertaining to this incident, you're detaining this guy and he didn't want to identify himself. Could you lawfully arrest him?
No, sir.
Could you arrest him if he lied to you about his ID?
No, sir. Didn't have with Sergeant Griffith's, information that didn't have a lawful arrest.
If you're detaining somebody and they lie to you, you can arrest them for failure to ID.
If they lie.
If they lie to
Right.
you, okay? I think you need to brush up on this law quite a bit.
Yes, sir.
You seem confused over it, Raymond, just to be honest with you.
Yes, sir.
One thing that kind of came to mind when this popped up, I'm not trying to bring up old stuff, but you remember whenever, probably about 5 years ago, and I was your sergeant on patrol, and you had a guy that kind of a similar thing happened over at those, where it was like a halfway house for people that are suffering from mental illness over behind Shannon, and he
Yes, sir. I remember this you're talking about.
we had him lawfully detained. You had an articulable detention, but he didn't want to give you his name. And during that shift, we kind of found out about it, and me and the lieutenant talked to you about it. And very similar, that you had a good detention, he just wasn't going to tell you, and you arrested him for failure to ID, and then we went back and unarrested him and told him to drop the charges, and you remember that. So that's one thing that's kind of stood out is that, yes, this is it's a commonly misunderstood law. It really is. You're not the only one, but you got to make sure that we're leaving a good impression for these younger guys like me here this day, that to brush up on that. So we're not big any, we're not perfect, but it did stick out. If that makes sense.
Another thing, another thing, looking back at this one, I mean, you've already admitted that y'all might should have treated it like a consensual contact instead of a detention, because you got sent there for a possible intoxicated person, right?
Yes, sir.
And you didn't see any signs of intoxication. So I'm not really sure you had a detention. I mean, I think initially you did,
I would agree.
but once you determine that I don't think he's intoxicated, that's gonna turn into a consensual contact. And I mean, in a consensual, they could lie, they don't have to say anything and walk off.
Yeah, this example is giving me, they can tell me their name's Mickey Mouse and
Right.
we're done.
Yeah.
Yes,
So, I mean, we gotta, we gotta make that determination, but the bottom line is, if it's a consensual contact or detention, I don't think y'all could have arrested him just because he wouldn't give you his name.
Yes, sir.
And I just want I want to make sure you understand that. Okay.
That's the ultimate goal, man. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not like we want to see people get in trouble. It's just that we want to make sure people are doing the best that they can. Correction.
Yes, sir. I understand.
Okay, so you and Officer Mayberry are talking to him, whether it's consensual or detention at this point, and you've asked for his name. He's only told you Jack. Officer Weber shows up.
Weber thought we're going to arrest him as for a PI, and this is me and him and talked later that night, getting all just.
But let's just talk about there at the scene.
Okay, so at the scene, Weber comes in, asks us, what are we doing? Tell him what's going on. He's like, well, Weber tells him, hey man, just tell us your name, we'll be out here. With the whole, photo ID and everything. At that point, he's like, I'm not telling you anything. He's quoting the statute again. Weber's like, well, we're gonna arrest this guy. I was like, yeah. So we go to make the arrest, tell him he's under arrest.
Who tells him that? Do you and Officer Weber decide it together?
I think it was a decision on both of us. I don't remember who exactly said what about
Between y'all two?
Yes, sir.
Was Mayberry just standing off to the side?
I think he was.
Who made the decision to arrest him for failed ID?
Remember Weber asked me, what are we gonna arrest this guy for failed ID? It's like, yeah, let's go ahead. So Weber's like, all right, you're under arrest. So we go to effect the arrest.
So you and Officer Weber make that decision?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So we go to make the arrest. He goes to struggle with us, trying to pull away. We go hands on. At some point I lose my camera. So I remember looking down and was like, where the hell's my camera? We would get him in cuffs. I pick my camera up, put it back on my deal, on my chest plate, whatever.
Explain his resistance.
Just pulling away, not wanting to put his arms behind his back, trying to get away from us. I remember securing him next to a drink cooler. We get him in handcuffs. He starts to pull away again, so we secure him. So there's the drink cooler here. Put him here, handcuff him up, pull him off. At that point, he's in cuffs, so we're not trying to push, pull, anything physical at that point. Take a step back, top of the deal. He tries to pull away from again or whatever, so there was no set of drink coolers on this side. Me and Weber put him to that side, started bringing his arms up. Hey, chill out. Quit pulling away, quit doing this. As soon as he stopped, told Weber, hey, let's get him off. Pulled him away from it, put his arms back down. His arms were never, I guess, pushed over his head or anything like that I can remember. I know I do remember lifting him up, just trying to, the whole, like the pain compliance type of the deal I've done in the past with anybody else.
Okay. So he's trying to pull it. So y'all handcuff him? Well, y'all tell him he's under arrest, and he tries to pull away. Won't let y'all handcuff him. Type of resistance.
Yes, sir.
Y'all do get him handcuffed, and then he's still trying to pull away from y'all. So y'all pull his arms up to try to get him to stop pulling away.
Tell him stop, chill out. Quit trying to pull away from us.
Did he ever complain that it was hurting, or
nothing like that? Also,
did he make any indication y'all were hurting him?
No, sir.
You don't remember any of that?
I don't remember any of that. I know we got him outside, got him into the car, wants to talk to Sergeant Holt. Holt's like, no, this isn't good, need to get him out, need to release him, need to explain to him everything, documentation, offer him medical attention, everything like that. So once all that was figured out and done, we got him out, took him out of handcuffs, went to explain to him everything, tried to offer him medical attention. He never said yes or no. If I remember, I don't think I even got to finish with it. He just wanted to get away, didn't want to talk to us anymore. So I basically got to the point of telling him, hey, everything's going to be documented, everything that happened. You know, and I said, do you have any questions? No, I don't want anything, or I don't want to talk to you, or whatever. So I just let him go at that point. So he was released and left the scene.
So, based on his resistance at the time, you felt like y'all's actions were warranted to gain control of him?
Yes, sir.
So do you pull people's arms up like that? Like you said something a while ago that you do that to other people.
I have in the past just to get them to chill out, just to get them to quit. It was just something I've learned over time. It's pain compliance. You know, start to pull away, start to, I don't want to say push, I guess twist away or whatever. This is something I've done just I learned from some prior experience working in jail and just since I've been out here before I came here.
So define pain compliance.
It's like the wrist locks or forearm bar or arm bar locks, stuff like that. Get someone to, like, if they got their arm pinned under them, just using that or the pressure points like behind the ear, stuff like that.
Put a little pain on them to get them to comply.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. So y'all get him under control. He settles down, and
Let up, just everything. She's calmed back down, or not. Yeah, I guess he calmed back down. As soon as he chills out, let go. Get his arms back down. Like I said, they were never like, you know, the raised over their head type of like the escort.
no chokeholds.
No.
Do you remember anybody holding his head up against the cooler?
That may have been me. I don't remember for sure. I remember securing him to the cooler. I don't remember how exactly I did everything. That could have been me that done that one.
So he's under control, and you and Officer Mayberry escort him outside?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And Sergeant Holt shows up?
We get him outside, we put him into a car. Sergeant Holt comes up, explains to him everything that happened. Tom Sergeant Holt, and he flat tells me, says that you don't have this. It's not. It says you basically made a bad arrest. So when you get him out, you get him taken care of, offer him medical attention, offer him, you know, tell him there's going to be documentation. Explain to him what all we're going to do on our side of it. And like I said, I tried to do all of that. He's at that point, he was obviously he wasn't happy with me. He didn't want to talk to me any further than what he had to.
Right. Do you remember what Sergeant Holt told you about it being a bad arrest?
It was about the detention being wasn't a lawful arrest, and that telling me about it. You know, it's more the way he was explaining is more consensual contact, and that he doesn't have to tell you his name if you don't have a lawful arrest. You have detention, it's one thing. If you don't have a lawful arrest, he doesn't have to tell you his name. As I said, the example Sergeant Holt gave was he can tell you his name's Mickey Mouse and walk off. There's nothing you can do with it.
Did you do a use of force report on that?
I don't remember if I did or did not. I think I did.
Do you think a use of force report would be appropriate for that?
Yes, sir.
I didn't find one, but I haven't looked for like 2 weeks, if you've done one in the last 2 weeks. But
I remember doing one for something. I remember sending an email to ask you guys a question, then I was able to, that may have been a different incident.
so if somebody's resisting as he was, and you have to use some force, not just regular handcuffing, you think that would warrant a use of force report?
Probably would. If I didn't do one, I thought I did one. I don't remember if I if I was told to do one or not either, so.
Okay.
But if one needs to be done, I can always go back and do one.
What does policy say about when you use force and reporting of that?
That I don't remember, sir.
So it would be if you, it's not verbatim, but basically if you use force outside of a normal arrest procedure. So if you do anything outside of this normal handcuffing procedure, normal arrest, then that would need to be documented. So that's pretty.
So that'd be, so like using, so like.
Was that a normal arrest?
I would say no.
That's what he's talking about. Yes.
So,
So if you're having to raise their arms up high or push their head on a Coke can or so just refrigerator or whatever, then that'd probably be something that, well, not probably, that'd be something that need to be documented.
no.
So, just so I understand it right, gets into a call regarding possible intoxicated person with a child harassing people outside. You and Mayberry find what you think may be the suspect. Y'all make contact. You can't find anything to indicate he's intoxicated. Is that correct?
Sir.
So,
Excuse me.
you ask him to identify himself, and he won't. Officer Weber shows up. You and Officer Weber decide, since he won't identify himself, y'all gonna arrest him for failed ID. He resists by trying to pull away, not letting y'all handcuff him. Y'all are able to handcuff him. He's still resisting, so to gain compliance from him, you pull his arms up behind him, and then he complies.
Yes, sir.
And you don't recall him complaining about any injuries.
No, sir.
Y'all escort him outside. Sergeant Holt shows up, tells y'all he didn't think that was a good arrest, so y'all unarrest him and send him on his way.
Yes, sir.
Is that it?
Yes, sir.
You got anything else?
I don't think so. Did you have an identified calling party? Like, was there somebody you talked to? Did y'all try to call the calling party back or something when you couldn't
The
find them?
firm, I want to say call refused. I'd have to look the call back up.
Do you think that matters to help bolster a detention if you have an identified calling party versus a nobody, or or
I think it would, because we'd actually put a better description just than what we had on the call notes.
just curious. I think the main thing is that I don't think you have any ill intentions here. I think you just, I don't know, to use your own words, you feel like you screwed up.
Looking back now, I screwed up. I mean, I'm not gonna sit there and lie about it. I'm not gonna cover it up.
Yeah.
I made a mistake and I recognize that.
So you feel like making the arrest for failed ID was not the right thing to do?
No, sir.
Do you feel like the force you used was justified based on his resistance?
At the time, yes. Now, no.
You don't think so?
No. Knowing
Why?
that
Yeah, explain that a little bit. Why would I know?
at that time, thinking I had a lawful arrest and yes, the force, I believe the force was justified.
Okay.
But looking at it now, realizing the mistake that I made and stuff, it should have.
Well,
we
take
should've
that
stopped
part
it.
out,
Okay.
whether it's lawful or not. If he's resisting arrest, was the force you used in your mind justified to gain his compliance?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Because I've done it. I've arrested people time and time before, and I've had them resist at some point. If it's just the minor, just pass resistance, like, man, just quit. Let's not add any charges.
You didn't pull his arms up just because. I mean,
No,
he was resisting.
no, I wasn't thinking, okay, I'm gonna hurt this guy because
Right.
I get off on this.
That's what-
No,
yeah.
no.
I mean, you
That's
you
not-
did that because he was resisting.
Yes, sir.
Is that right?
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
I just wanna make
I'm
sure.
not, yeah, I wasn't in there to intentionally trying to hurt a guy, nothing like that, that's not,
You don't handcuff people and just jack their arms up
no,
unless they're resisting.
yes, sir. But as soon as they stop, then I let go.
Okay.
As soon as there's compliance, you know, so if I start to pull up, hey man, stop, okay, I'll quit, then they go back down. And so holding them by the wrist, you know, where the cuffs are at, I go back to just, you know, the escort, you know, over on the arm.
Yeah. All right. So arrest was wrong. Use of force was right.
Sir.
Is that right?
Yes, sir.
And you said you describe it as more than passive resistance?
Yes, sir. He was trying to pull away from us and get away, turn away, that kind of thing. Trying to pull his arms away from our hands and stuff.
Stiffening up.
Yes, sir.
Pretty stout guy. So if he stiffens up, it's
He recognized it pretty quick.
okay.
This is not a for sure thing. Okay, I don't want you to think it is. It's just a hypothetical. And a hypothetical, if you were to get less days than what the chiefs would come to the conclusion what you needed, if you got less days, if that happens, would you be willing to write a short class or a essay or a prepared statement and give it to different shifts as a way to have fewer days off if that was, and this is all hypothetical?
I wouldn't mind doing in class. I mean, they need to know, these younger guys, just because I'm a senior officer doesn't mean I don't make mistakes.
It's just
I don't mind trying to teach them something to learn. Hey,
Are you an FTO?
just as a thought. I mean, like I said, the main purpose of this is not to get people suspended or fired or anything. The main purpose is to provide a better, higher quality of service to our public. And I don't know, I just feel like this might be something that everybody could mutually benefit from too, if you're willing to do that. And again, that's completely up. It's a little bit outside the norms of what we normally do, but it'll be up to the chiefs eventually.
I would rather, to be perfectly honest with you, Sarge, I would rather, if I had to teach something, I would feel better doing it that way than trying to write something. Because to me, I can talk better than I can put something on paper.
It would probably need to be kind of both, though. I mean,
Right.
Something didn't have to be like an essay necessarily,
Right.
just, you know, here's the law, here's what it is, we don't explain it.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, that's not a big deal. I wouldn't have a problem with that.
Well, I'm just gonna make a suggestion, Raymond, is for a week, 2 weeks, however long, you might wanna go memorize that penal code regarding this. That way you can help other officers too if you see them, you know, making the same mistake.
Yes, sir.
What do you think Officer Mayberry's level of involvement of this should be? Personally, just, I mean, knowing what you know, knowing where we're at right now, after it's all said and done, is he equally culpable?
I say his involvement is probably minor. So I think he was following what, I think he was, because him being the younger officer, I think he was following whatever we were doing.
Do you think he would have known for sure that y'all were arresting him for failed to identify and not some other offense? I mean, was that explicitly clear, I guess, during that time frame?
I think it was.
So you think at the time y'all go to place handcuffs on him, everybody knew we're arresting him for failed to identify?
Yes, sir.
And you think that was relayed verbally? Is that how we come to that conclusion?
I think it's verbally and just kind of I mean, now look back at it, it shouldn't have gone that way. You know, it could have been be a miscommunication on all of us. If he had thought something different, and if he had said something, I would have went with what he said, rookie or not.
But you and Officer Weber's, y'all decided to arrest him for failed ID. Is that what you said earlier?
Yes, sir.
Officer Mayberry wasn't in that conversation.
He was standing there next to us. He didn't say anything, at least that I can recall. He didn't say anything as, no, we don't need to do this, and no, guys, we need to back off. There was nothing.
Or yeah, let's do it. Or,
Yeah, nothing like that. If he had sat there and told me, he says, man, I don't think we have anything, I think we're done, then we'd have backed off and we'd been done with it. We wouldn't be here right now.
This is honestly more of a hypothetical, but in your mind, if you had to put a 100% level of responsibility, and you had to spread that across 3 people, what would your level of involvement be in that 100% piece of the pie top deal?
I would take the majority of it because I was a senior officer on the scene.
What about Weber?
I give Weber a little bit of a percentage of it, and then whatever's left, then give it to Mayberry.
So in your mind, are you thinking like a 80, 10, 10, or?
Maybe it's
If it's
70, 15, 15 maybe, or 60, 20, 20.
It's just I just like to kind of get an idea of, because this is the more, I won't say complicated, but the more, the harder part for us to discern, is, how did we get here? Where did we go wrong? What can we do to be better? Do you think that you would have made the decision to arrest him if Weber had not have walked up, and that interaction would not have occurred? Were you planning on arresting him for fail to identify?
Probably let him go at that point. Just what he just called it.
And that's why I was kind of wondering what your level of you, Weber, and Mayberry, kind of what in your mind, what happens there?
Right.
It's not about throwing somebody at the bus. It's just about being real and being straightforward. And I was just curious.
Anything else? Raymond, I don't have anything else unless you got something you want to say.
No, like I said, I recognize the mistake I made. I see it now. I do what I can to fix it and not make a repeater.
Okay, it's approximately 4:48 p.m. and our interview has concluded.